This Thursday evening. My name is Matsileng Mohodi, and as we promised, we want to talk about families. And we are hoping that through these sessions, we can provide you with some solutions, some insights on things that we are experiencing as families. So I know sometimes we want to talk about something and it opens up a can of worms. But guess what? Opening up a can of worms helps us to really look deep and try to find solutions for ourselves, for our families, for our children, for the young ones around us, and for communities at large. And as you know, if we heal ourselves, we heal our families, we heal communities. So today I've got Ilse Albert. She's going to introduce herself. She's got so much experience with families, with individuals, and she will let us know briefly about what she does. And as we go along the way, you'll hear from our discussion the kind of experience that she's bringing onto the table. Ilse, welcome, and thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Matsaling. Families are very dear to my heart. At this very moment, I am actually in Johannesburg in my daughter's house to come and visit my granddaughters. I live now in the winelands, the wonderful, beautiful Franschhoek Valley, and family is really very dear to my heart. I am a family-focused psychologist. I have been focusing on families for the last 30 years. And that includes working with couples and the relationship issues, parenting issues. I've got vast experience in working with children as well. I used to have a very big psychology center in Johannesburg where we just focused on family work. And then my big love as well now as an older woman is the empowerment of women, and especially I run programs for the CEOs and the leaders of our society, the females. That's in that lonely position of I'm a female. I am leading big companies. I've got my successful business. I've got a family, and it's a lonely place because there are not many that understand how it is. So I run programs for them as well. Earlier this year, I was on SABC3 on the reality TV series called Saving Our Marriage, and I worked with 5 couples.
That was awesome. I saw it.
Yes, to help them save their marriages. So, yes, I'm having fun, but I'm really, really believing that today's parents are having big challenges. There's a huge amount of information out there. I'm even looking at my own daughter. She is the mother of my 2 granddaughters. And how often she's leaning on me and asking me for guidance and advice because she belongs to so many Facebook groups about parenting, so many WhatsApp groups around parenting, and there is just so much information available, and it can be overwhelming for parents. So I like to just go back to the basics of family dynamics, relationships, and also how important it is for parents and the grown-ups in the families to invest in growing themselves, because that is the biggest investment that you can make in growing your family.
Actually, if you invest in yourself, to grow the family, everything else grows.
Absolutely, yes.
Everything else grows. So, Ilse, I want us to look into why families experience so many problems amongst themselves. What could be the cause of that?
It's a lack of life skills, a lack of understanding own behavior. And if you don't even understand your own behavior, you cannot understand anyone else's behavior. So we have to put that in compartments. We can first say, why are so many relationships, marriages, life partnership relationships, why so many of that really battling? And why are the divorce statistics saying that 50% of marriages end in divorce? and multiple marriages have become more the norm of the day. Well, it is really the lack of skills to know how to make it work. The most complicated relationship is between a husband and a wife, or between two life partners, because that is the most intimate relationship. And in that intimate relationship, you get to know each other very well. You get to know how easily you can push the buttons in another person. And when you also have the perception that your needs are not being met, what you do is you pull away from the person and you push the person away. So if you're the husband and you perceive my wife is not fulfilling my needs, she is challenging what is of importance to me, he will start to pull away from her and he will start to push her away. And there will come this big contaminated space in between of a, a lack of communication. And also, there are lots of unrealistic expectations in couple relationships that I am married to you and you're responsible to make me happy. And
Yeah.
And the day we got married and we said till death parts us, it means that till we die, the day you are going to look after me, make me happy, and just do everything that I want you to do. And that is such a fantasy, and that is why there's such disappointment and disillusionment in marriages and in
And
life partnerships.
yeah, and on top of that, trying to change the person once you are married, trying to change the other person. And it happens in both ways. Both men and women do that.
Of course. I mean, of course, you want the person that you are married to or in a life partnership with, you want that person to love you in the way that you want to be loved. But you know what, Matseling? That your life partner will love you in the way that he or she shows love. Not in your way, but in their way. And that is where the big misunderstanding comes. Um, I, I think of a couple that I'm busy working with now. They are a very typical couple in their mid 30s, and she is very career driven. In fact, she is the second generation of a very successful family business, an international family business.
Yeah.
And in fact, both her parents actually died a couple of years ago in a helicopter crash together. So she took the family business over at quite a young age, and she fell in love with this really nice, delightful man who is not as successful as she is. And he doesn't come from wealth. And he is, um, they're battling in this relationship to understand how to make it work when we come from such diverse and different backgrounds. But even if it's not diverse and different backgrounds, we come from different backgrounds. Our parents parented us differently. We have different ways that we look at life. And I can hear the way that he's saying he wants her to love him is completely not her way. So he's disillusioned, he's disappointed, he feels rejected, he feels not important, he feels that his needs are not being met. I mean, I talked to her, she feels
Yes.
exactly the same, that the same is true for her, because the way that he wants to show his love to her is not the way she perceives it. And the way to
So
build a
that
bridge,
push is that push and pulling away.
yeah, and the way to build a bridge to each other is to learn. And I think that was for me the biggest learning in my own marriage when I got to understand my husband's way of showing love. I'm not talking about love languages here. That's a very limited form. I know there are the 5 love languages, and like most people know about it. I'm talking way beyond that. How a person is showing their love. And when I got to understand that is how my husband does it, my my insecurity and my perception that he doesn't fulfill my needs changed. And that is the gift. That's a gift that you can give yourself is to really ask yourself, what is my life partner's way of showing love? It is very unlikely not my way that I want to be shown love.
That is so profound because we always want people to love us how we think they should. And I think one of the most important things to understand is that the reason why two people get together in the first place is usually not because they're the same, it's because they're different.
Yep.
So
Because
how do we communicate that? Because you also mentioned something very important about having insecurities, because that also leads to that conflict. And when there's that conflict, it impacts the children, and those children get to grow up in an environment where there is fightings all the time. There is arguments. Arguments are good, but if the children can see that there are big problems, they sense it. Even if they don't see it, they sense that something is not right, and they carry that out with them throughout their lifetimes until they're adults as well, and they carry it into their own relationships. So how do we help couples? Because if it goes down to the children, then I also want us as a next step to talk about siblings, children from in the same family, the fighting that occurs there. But maybe let us start with, how do we share those tools? What are the simplest things that couples can do to ensure that the family environment is is good enough for the children to thrive?
I think, first of all, good enough for the husband and wife or the life partners to thrive, because that is how it all started. If it were not for the two coming together, the children would not have been there. So I like to explain to couples that there are three kinds of relationships that we have with each other. And unless you become aware of the kind of relationship or how you are actually in the relationship with your partner, you don't change. So there are three ways that we have relationships. The first way is you can be careful towards your spouse, your life partner. And the one that is careful is coming from a place of, I better please him or her. I don't like fighting. I want to avoid conflict. In fact, my life partner's needs are more important to me, and I want to make sure that I'm in his or her good books, that they like me, and that there's peace and harmony in the family. So therefore, I'm going to be very careful around my life partner. I'm not going to speak up when I'm unhappy. He or she can ask me what's wrong, and I will say just nothing with a smile.
But
And
inside,
yeah, yeah. And building deep resentment up on the inside. That is a careful relationship, not a healthy place to be in. If you are doing that in your relationship, you are not contributing to a healthy relationship. Then you
because
get,
you want your partner to be with you. You think the partner will leave you if
yeah.
you speak against them.
And that also comes from a childhood pattern that's developed from a very young age, that a person believes, I will only be loved when I'm pleasing. And then you get the opposite, the careless one. And the careless one is the one who says, it's my way. I don't mind if I shout and scream or if I'm demanding. Um, I want it my way, and I will. It's careless. I don't care how I talk to you. I don't care how I make you feel. In fact, I am just caring about what I want. And that happens in all relationships at certain times. So everybody in a relationship will at times be pleasing or careful, and at times be careless and be pointing the finger, criticizing, judgmental. And then you get in between, the balance between the two is the care ring relationship. And that is why we wear rings when we are in permanent relationships. And I believe it's to remind us to be caring. And caring means I care equally about myself as I care about you. And we are in a relationship to bring out the best in each other. That is a caring relationship. And a caring relationship does not mean there's no conflict. It does not mean there's no unhappiness. It is an equal balance that we challenge and support each other. Not only support, but challenge and support.
So that's
It's
the caring. Caring.
yes,
Yes.
and a caring relationship that also knows how to apologize. Not to say, I'm sorry and please forgive me, but to say, when I spoke to you like that, I know I was out of place. And I could see that that it had a very big impact on you. I apologize for the way I spoke to you. And I undertake to really take care of the way I speak to you. That is an apology. Just saying I'm sorry for what I've done doesn't mean. So apology is part of a caring relationship. Take account.
Yeah, that is so powerful because we normally say, okay, I'm sorry, you know.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
okay, I apologized yesterday,
yeah,
but it's just saying it for the sake of saying it.
yeah.
But
Oh, I
when you
didn't mean it.
yes, but when you actually state, it shows that you have seen what you have done
Yes.
and you're
Yes.
apologizing for that specific thing.
And you see also what the impact was on your partner.
And you saw the impact because the biggest problem is not seeing the impact on your partner when you do something like that.
Yes. Yes.
Mm.
And so these are, I think, at the basis of why relationships really suffer. A lack of willingness to grow myself so that my relationship can grow.
Because you cannot grow the relationship if you are not growing yourself.
Yes, yes,
Because how
yes,
do you contribute with something that you don't have?
yes.
Yeah.
100%, yes.
Yeah. So Ilse, tell me about creating safe spaces in the home, safe spaces for family members to be able to express themselves and to know that they are safe within the family. Whose responsibility is it? Is it just the wife, just the husband, both people, children?
It's a responsibility of everyone to make the others in the family feel that it's a safe space. So if you as the parents show your children that you can express yourself and it is, we hear you. So even if it is between husband and wife or between parents and children, if I think of an example, if a child is really coming from home, pardon me, from school, and feeling very upset, storming into the house, slamming the door, throwing their school case down, and storming off to their room and slamming the bedroom door, that child will feel I'm in a safe space. If a parent goes and says, after they left the child a bit to just have time to cool down, I can see that something really upset you. When you go and you reflect to your child or to your partner what you are seeing they are feeling. If you're wrong, they will correct you. So if you say to your child, you look so upset about something. And if the child's not upset, the child might respond and say, no, I am so angry. And, and the child will then learn that I am in a safe space, my feelings are being understood, and I'm also being allowed to express my feelings. So one of the ways that I've learned to create a safe space in my relationship with my husband is I I learned to also choose the times and the situations when I would speak to him about important things. That I won't just dump things on him when he's tired, when he just comes home, when he is busy doing something else. I've learned to say to him, I have something I want to discuss with you. Can you let me know when will be a good time? And if he forgets to let me know, I will say to him, I'm still waiting for you to let me know when it will be a good time. And you know what, Mitteling? We've actually at times even made appointments with each other that tonight at 8 o'clock we can talk about it. And then
Yes.
it's a safe space.
Yes, absolutely. I love that because you know how when there's something very important to be discussed, and what one partner is not ready to talk about that, they're just dealing with something else. And then the partner pounces on them to want to discuss this. So creating time and actually making an appointment. I like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually making an appointment, because then you prepare yourself mentally to
Yeah, and
to know that you're
sure.
gonna, yes.
That creates a safe space in marriages that's just one example of many. Also, the ability to hear each other, to put yourselves in the shoe of another person creates a safe space. And then for children to know, my parents are here for me. They're here to protect me. They're here to guide me. They are here to understand me. But our children really need from us is their protection, our protection, for us to protect them. Not overprotect, not put them in cotton wool and smother them, but protect them, meaning when life becomes hard and difficult and they feel unsafe, that we step in and we help them to get this feeling of safety back. In whatever form you know, you can do it. And that is to really to listen what your children are telling you, listen what they're saying. And when you hear with the willingness to hear, you create a safe space for your children.
Because if it's the opposite way, where parent will say, this is my house, you don't behave like that, without actually giving the child a chance to speak about what is troubling them, then that
Yeah.
makes it difficult for the child to communicate next time.
Yep.
And they find other avenues to try and resolve their issues.
Yes. They will go and rather speak to friends.
Yes. Okay, so I want us to move. So since we posted to say this is the discussion we're going to have, we've had a lot of questions around sibling rivalry. And a lot of people are trying to make sense of sibling rivalry because either siblings are not talking to each other, or one sibling is not even living with the family and the family is angry at the sibling. So there are lots of those. There are lots of those kinds of problems within families, and those things divide families to an extent that some, especially now coming from COVID and pandemic, the lockdown, a lot of families have had to not even see their family members or their siblings because of those infights between families. So, what do you think could be the cause of people not liking, not even loving their siblings? What creates that tension?
So let's start first with just normal plain sibling rivalry in the family. Your kids are all still at home, and at times they play very nicely together, and at times there's just a huge fight. And the older one is shouting on the younger one, "Get out of my room!" And younger one is crying, and you talk about that kind of sibling rivalry. That is the purpose of sibling rivalry is to help children to learn to deal with difficulty, with conflict, to learn to stand up for themselves in the safe environment of a home. So the way to deal with that normal squabbles and sibling rivalry that you have, I'm talking about the normal ones, but we'll get to the more difficult, complicated ones. The best one for that is, I say to parents, if that happens, and I've done that when my children were still, I mean, my kids are now all grown-ups, when they were still at home, I would say to them that they are welcome to go and have their rivalry in their bedroom or outside, but not in front of me. And to, to put boundaries down, not that they're not allowed to fight with each other, but they're not allowed to come and steal my peace and do it in front of me. Because one of the reasons why children have sibling rivalry, especially in front of parents, is for the sake of competition. All children have at their moments where they think their parents love their siblings more than them. There is that subconscious testing to see whose side will my mom or my dad take. And when we as parents do get involved, and usually what we do is we take the side of the younger one, because the older one is supposed to know better, be more grown up, be more, whatever, wise. Look after the younger one. We really we enforce sibling rivalry then, because the younger one sees, when I go and irritate my older sibling,
I get
my older
protection.
sibling, I get the affection and the attention, and the older one gets to be the wrong one. So the best way to handle sibling rivalry is really to know it is happening in all families. Does not mean that your kids do not love each other. It means in that moment they do not like each other. And they are learning how to stand up for themselves, how to fight, how to handle conflict, how to handle life. And the more we start to try to sort it out for them, the more they get the impression of I'm taking, the sides are being taken by the parents.
Yes.
Okay, so we've got, you've got the question you said, where sibling rivalry is now of such a case that it actually divides families, and that is of course when the siblings are older.
Yes.
And when any person, whether it is a marital couple, a brother or sister in a family, an employee at work, when you perceive that you are receiving far more challenges than support from your sibling or from your family members, if you perceive that you are receiving far more pain than pleasure from your family members, you will pull away from them. If that is caused by a sibling, you will definitely pull away from that sibling. And that pulling away can be pulling away so far that you even leave the house and leave the relationship. And it happens because, once again, people don't have skills and know how to handle challenges. They don't have skills and to know how to manage conflict and obstacles in the relationships. And then you go into your three basic reptilian, amphibian, old brain patterning behavior. You either freeze in your feelings, or you go into flight, that you are,
You
or you
can't
go,
handle it.
can't handle it, you fight, or you go into fright and you flee away, or you freeze. So
Yes.
sibling rivalries can really be destructive if people do not know how to build bridges back to each other. And it is all about life skills. And I've dealt with families where the sibling rivalry was so intense that it actually really broke the parents' hearts. And nothing that the parents could do could change it. Nothing. Because The person who's taking a stand is the person who is seeing only his or her side and is only seeing that the other person is too big of a challenge.
I want to ask, there's a question that came through. This person says, how do you fix a relationship with your siblings that you yourself never actually know what caused the tension in the first place?
And the sibling has
So
just
if you
pulled
don't even
away.
know what happened, but there's just this tension with the siblings, and you don't know, so you don't even know where to start. Is it possible that you don't know, or
I want to disagree with I don't know. It is possibly rather I don't want to accept that that can be the reason because it feels to me so impossible, improbable, so unimportant. How can that be the cause? So I will revisit my sentence that I just don't know, and I will say, maybe I don't want to know. So if I take accountability that every relationship is a dance and I am 50%
pattern?
contributed to any relationship that is imploding. No
Yeah.
person does it on their own. You do it in a relationship with another person. It
Mm.
takes two to tango.
Mm. And then there's a parent here who says, my children are growing up separated, so meaning that they're fighting. What's the best way to get them to get along?
Um, I have to know how old these kids are because if they are grown-ups, there's very little that you as parents can do. If they are still at home with you, you can, and you still have the influence and the impact over them, you can see if you can get help for them. Because there are times that parents are not equipped to help their children. And that is where there are professionals to help with those complicated situations. When you feel that things are out of your hands, that you are incapable to deal with something, then see outside the family how can you get help? Because not getting help, not leaving things as it is going to change absolutely nothing.
Mm. Okay. All right. I'm gonna take some questions here also on the group right now. Why is it so hard for siblings to learn from the challenges when they were young and would rather carry this into adulthood and continue the fight into the future? So some siblings would probably be fighting as I mean being young within the family, and as they grow older they start working, they start having their own places to live, and instead of the relationship being repaired, it gets worse. So what
So,
advice
so,
would we give those? Is it
a
similar to what you just said?
yeah, so a relationship, when a person pulls away from you, whether it's your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your child, your brother, your sister, your friend, whoever, if a person is pulling away from you and doesn't want to come closer to you, it is clear feedback that there is something that you are doing consciously or subconsciously that is being perceived by the person who's pulling away as really challenging, really painful, really negative. And for any relationship to restore is for both to take accountability for what is my 50%. And I know people say to me, no, it is my maybe 5%, 95% is the other.
Aha, yes, we
And
like
I
saying
say,
that. Mm.
no, no, it doesn't work like that. It is a mature, emotionally intelligent person who says, I know it's 50%. and I will take accountability for my 50%. I cannot take accountability for the other person's 50%. I will do my ability that I can to bring restoration, but once again, it takes two to tango, and sometimes the other person does not want to have the restoration because they have an inability to let go of the pain, the challenges, have an unforgiving spirit. There are many different reasons why people do not want to restore relationships. But it's costly. In the end, the person who doesn't want to restore relationships is the one who is paying the dearest for it.
The person who doesn't want to repair the relationship is the one that pays the most.
Yep. Yep.
Because the other one could do their 50% and acknowledge their contribution to the demise of their relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
So somebody else here is saying, at times, parents as human beings are prone to error and often show affection and love to their other siblings because of their level of education, career, and business, as an example. What are your thoughts on that? So if a parent doesn't treat his or her children in the same way because of where they're at, status-wise.
So is it at where the parent is at or the children are at?
Where the children are at. So let's say one child has gone to university, they've got a degree, one is working, one is not working. And the parent gives more attention to those ones that are already doing it or having it well in their lives.
There are many factors here. I know as a parent myself that you love your children equally. You don't love more. But there are times that you like some of your children more and some of your children less because of the way that they either challenge or support you. I have 3 children. There are definitely times that I don't like them. And they know that. I say, I don't like what you're doing right now. I always love you, but I don't like what you're doing right now. So as a parent myself, when my children do things that I love and I like and it's supportive for me, I draw closer to them, I give them attention, I want to be with them. But when they challenge me in what is of importance to me, and they are challenging me in not, I want you to know, when a person feels that what is important to them, what is of priority to them, gets challenged, you do pull away from that person, whether it's your husband,
Naturally,
your child,
whether it's your child or anybody, yeah.
So children must guard against the lopsided perception that my parents must just love me unconditionally. I can challenge them as much as I want and I can disappoint them as much as I want. They must just keep on loving me. It's a two-way. It's a two to tango
So
again.
parents can love their children, but they will sometimes not like what the children are doing. So it is important. Yeah. So it is important for children to not mix the two, to understand that my parents still love me, but they don't like it that I always sit at home, I do nothing, I don't contribute, or I refuse to go to school.
Yes.
So there's that
absolutely.
difference.
Because if it is of high priority and high importance for the parent that their children must have education, maybe they didn't have the opportunity for it. And now they want their children to have it. And the child is not doing it, is not choosing to do it, is sitting at home, as to use your example. The parent who has it as importance and really would love for their children to be educated. And you're the one who challenged them with that. They're not going to like that behavior.
But it doesn't mean they don't love you.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they are most definitely are until you develop real deep emotional maturity, you will go through times that you will feel one of your parents love the other children more than you. That remains a competition among children. And especially when you are in a phase as an older one, I'm not talking about young kids now, that you feel insecure, that you feel not great about yourself. That might be very often as well that you perceive that your parents are feeling better and liking your siblings more. And maybe it's once again just because you're hard to be with.
You
So,
hard to be with
yes, yes, yes,
because everybody wants to surround themselves with people that are they are comfortable with.
yes. And that's nice to be around. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
we prefer the easy flow in love. I don't know of people that say, it's wake up in the morning and say, let me go and find the difficulties and where life is flowing with difficulty. We want to go where the life flows more with ease.
Yes. So is it fair to say, because there are lots of people that are experiencing challenges with their siblings. So is it fair to say right now that if they're experiencing that, that they need to go back and just look at what exactly is the reason why there is that problem with their sibling, first of all, and own up to their 50% contribution towards that distance. But on top of that, to also ask themselves if they are the ones that have actually created the distance because of whatever problems that that the sibling may have done. And sometimes it's because of what the sibling is doing to the parents that siblings start to fight, that look at what you're doing to our parents.
Yeah,
And
no,
I think also, sorry, yes. So I think the biggest one that I like that you said is the fact of differentiating between liking and loving. That your family will always love you, but your family may not like you because of the things that you do to the
absolutely.
family, the pain that you bring to the family. So maybe, like you were saying, get help to try and find some way of dealing with what has happened.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
take accountability. If every time you just want to push the responsibility on someone else, you walk away as if you are completely innocent, that is the time that you get, I would say, go and stand still and just go and ponder, what's my contribution here?
Somebody says, although I think it goes back to relationships, um, a depressed friend says she doesn't want to talk to anyone and that she doesn't want to talk, but she's online on WhatsApp. Uh, she says her mom is controlling, oops, I missed that, is controlling too. But what makes me confused as to why she stays online, yet she says she's depressed. If she doesn't want to talk to anyone, why is she online if she doesn't want to talk to anyone? So my assumption would be probably this person is not talking to them, but because they say they're depressed, but they can see that they're online, whether on social media or WhatsApp or whatever. So what can we say to help this
I'm not
person?
certain that I understand this question, so I'm just going to reframe it and to make sure that I understand it.
Yeah.
So, um, the person, so it's a friend who is saying, I feel depressed and I don't want to talk, but you can see that person is talking to others because they're online. So I'm
Yeah.
assuming on a WhatsApp, and they see the person is busy typing, and they're seeing this person is talking to someone else,
To other people.
to other
Yes.
people. So
That's
I
my
hope I
understanding.
understand that question correctly. Well, if my friend is once again not wanting to talk to me, um, It's most possible that my friend is perceiving that I'm not much of a help. Um, don't feel safe to talk to me. I don't know. There can be, this is a very, I need more content in this kind of situation. It's very generic question. So I can just answer it very generically and go back to this basic human behavior skills. If a person pulls away from you, it is feedback to you that this person is feeling challenged by you. And if you want to get that person closer, see how you can be of support to the person. So that's just a generic answer
A
that I can give.
generic one, yes, a generic one. So maybe just to also add, it could be that if this person is feeling rejected by the person that is online, maybe they need to look at how is it helping them that this person is not wanting to talk to them, because
Absolutely.
sometimes we get attached to someone, we want this person to talk to us, but in actual fact, when we start to release and start to accept that this person doesn't want to talk to us, and we start to focus on ourselves, we actually become grateful that they
Yeah.
have given us this opportunity to not be in touch with them, because
Yeah.
now we have these insights about our lives. We have these answers that we need for our lives.
So
So I'm hope. Yes, yes.
it's a great one to say, to rather than feeling sorry for yourself and just seeing the negatives, to ask yourself, how is it helping me? How is it serving me? What are the benefits for me? What are the positives for me when this friend doesn't want to talk to me? And I know people will initially say they well, nothing. And I'm 100% certain that there are a huge amount of benefits. Even something like, now I can focus on friends who want to speak to me. I can spend time doing my own thing. I don't have to worry about this friend anymore. You have to go and see in your world and in the things that's of important to you, what the benefits are for you, and then you will move on, because by asking that high quality question, you are investing in growing yourself.
Absolutely. It comes back to, if you want to be happy, you have to be happy yourself
Yeah,
and know how to make yourself happy. Then it
yeah,
makes it easy for other people to make you happy, because you already have the formula. So,
yeah.
because if you depend on outside people to make you happy, when they are not there, then you are sad because you don't know how to make yourself happy. So you must first be happy. And that's what I like to say to especially young women when they complain about a partner not making them happy, that if you are happy yourself, whether the partner is there or the partner is not there, they don't take away your happiness, because you are happy in the first place. So they just added and they just, compounded your happiness. But when they leave, they don't leave with your happiness. They don't take it away.
So
Yeah.
I want to just say something about happiness. Happiness is, every person will say, I just want to be happy. And I must say, I have never met a person that's just happy. We are happy and unhappy. It's happiness lasts for moments. The seek to seek happiness, to seek something that is not possible. To seek that another person must make me happy is also a fantasy, because nobody can make me happy. Yes, there are moments my husband makes me very happy. And those moments are when he does exactly what is of importance to me and what is of priority to me. When he doesn't do that, I'm not happy. I might just be neutral, or it doesn't mean I'm unhappy then, but happiness is only in moments when a person does something that really, really supports you. And when you are taking more responsibility for your own mental and emotional well being, and not for your happiness, but for your emotional intelligence, your well being, that gives you far more moments of happiness. Looking at another person to give you happiness is looking for the fantasy. And when we believe and look for fantasies, the nightmares start to show up.
Absolutely. So there's one who says, okay, I think we've answered quite a bit on sibling rivalry and how. So there's some comments on that, and then there's one that says, interesting indeed. I believe parents love their children equally, but can also be unhappy about what some of their kids do or how they behave. This can result in sibling rivalry, mainly from the misbehaving one, claiming to be discriminated against, instead of looking at themselves and making an effort to change. An element of jealousy can even raise its ugly head.
That's those are wise insights. And I agree that sibling rivalry can often also take place between siblings because of jealousy, um, comparison, feeling less than, less important, or less successful, feeling more like the failure. That can all cause sibling rivalry. But that's caused by you and your perceptions. It's not caused by the sibling.
So I'm gonna just throw one thing more into our discussion to just try and guide people that are experiencing problems with their siblings, with their parents, with their partners, to challenge them to maybe look at one aspect about the other person that they feel resentment
Okay.
towards.
So when
So
you,
yeah, so I would like you to guide us, to guide them to say if you have this kind of feeling towards a certain person, and then let's just guide them, give them some tips of how to deal with that resentment and how it also applies to them. Like I like the 50-50 thing because it's so important that we look at ourselves and how we are contributing to a problem at hand.
so when you are resentful towards a person, go and ask yourself, what am I resentful about? Say, for instance, I say I'm resentful because he's so selfish. Now I'm pointing a finger. He's so selfish. My husband, my boyfriend, my brother, so selfish. Three fingers are pointing back at me. Three. And it will be wise for you to say, that very thing I'm pointing the finger at my brother, my husband, my boyfriend, and I'm calling him selfish. Where do I do the same? Where are moments that I am selfish? Where I can see I'm selfish and others can see I'm selfish. And yes, I will be selfish in my own unique way. I mean, a person say to me, I'm never selfish, I say, you have not looked in the mirror yet. So it is to go and see that very thing that I spot in others. Where do I have it in myself? So I say, what I spot, I got. What I spot, I got.
Yeah.
That brings down your judgment. That brings down your blindness to yourself, your blind spots. And you start to see what I see in others, I have in myself as well. That's one thing that can be very, very helpful. The other thing, if I say, my brother or my husband or my boyfriend is so selfish, to go and see where is my brother or my husband or my boyfriend, the equal and opposite, unselfish. Because every person is like a coin, and every coin has two sides. And every person has moments of being selfish and moments of being unselfish. So if I only look at this other person and I see this person as selfish, and I do not take 1 second, or maybe it might even take me a couple of many minutes to see it, but if I don't put in the effort and the energy and the focus to go and see where this person is also doing the opposite, once again, I'm blind to a person. And that's my blind spot. And it caused me then heartache, unhappiness, and lopsided perceptions.
Did you hear that, people? Did you hear that? So if somebody is doing something that you do not like, it is important to look at what they have done that you liked about them. Because sometimes we say, this person is always like this. The word always should actually be taken out of the dictionary, because it is not always that they are bad. Sometimes they are good. They've done good things. So that will also help with relieving some of the stress that we have about the people that we feel aggrieved about. So when you start to look at, if they're bad, but they have also been good. So search for those moments. It will be very difficult initially. But if you push yourself, if you really want to escape and to heal, you will be able to push through and find those moments where they have actually been the opposite of what is giving you pain right now. And then the most interesting one is about where people are excited about someone. They put somebody on the pedestal. I think you touched on it when you were talking about the careful and careless, where you put somebody, you're so excited, you look at your partner, you look at your parent, you look at your sibling, and you feel they are just the best, and you are so infatuated with them. What are the dangers of being like that?
Well, if you put somebody on a pedestal, you put yourself down here. When you look up to the person, you put yourself here. I call it the underdog, and here's the top dog. So we are all equals. We are not above or underneath each other. So, of course, when you are in a new relationship, you meet a person, you look up at the person, you say, it's just the most wonderful thing that has ever happened to me. And that is also, it has to happen. Otherwise, we will possibly not continue with the relationship. But when you find yourself that you put another person on the pedestal and yourself in the pit, you are doing yourself a big disfavor. And it is important for you to go and see what you admire in the other person. Once again, my finger. What I admire in the other person, where do I have it in myself? In my own unique way, my own unique form, because we are all equals.
And I love that, because then that means you have seen something in someone, but you don't have to be like them. You don't have to do what they do, but you can find what you see in them, in yourself, but in a different way.
In
So
your
if
way.
in your way,
Yes.
because even if you don't have a business, you don't have a job, you're not educated, you are good at something.
Yes.
So it is important for you to know that, because nobody will know it for you. It is important to know that, so
Yes.
that you can find it. And when you start to find it, it will shine, it will start to shine, and you will not need to compare yourself to your partner, to your siblings, and to other people around you.
Absolutely. Absolutely, yes. Yes.
Yes. So would we say there are any bad people else?
No, there are
Good people?
people, there are
Do you have
people
good
that
people?
they are bad. A person is bad and good. We have bad and good in us. We have both. We have both in us. There are people that make bad choices, um, and we will call that a bad person. But we all have good and bad in us. We have both sides. We have the light and the shadow in us. Most people do not want to see their shadow side, their dark side, but other people can see it in you. And people have both. We need both to get through life. It is what we
We,
choose. It's the choices that we make, how we want to display our character traits that make us who we are.
Because a life without challenges
Mm.
does not help you to grow.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a
Uh,
life with only support keeps you a baby, so you do
yes.
not grow. So you need both support and challenge so that as you get challenged, you get supported and you
Mm.
grow. Get challenged and supported and you grow.
100%. Life is a balance of challenge and support. We get challenged to grow us. We get moments of support to give us time to rest and restore. And that is the beauty of life. That is how we grow. Challenges grow us, support make us, just give us that rest and restoration.
Mm. Thank you so much, yes.
You're so
Uh,
welcome.
I'm hoping that people will take these away and think about them and look at themselves. And I know that the easiest way would be to say, no, but I'm not like that, or no, but um, she's worse or he's worse. But the fact is, we've got a specialist here with us, and she's saying it's a 50-50. For you to reduce your pain, it can only happen when you start to look at yourself. And if you're finding it very difficult to look at yourself or to find what it is about you that has contributed to the problem, maybe it is time that you see someone.
Mm.
And unfortunately, a lot of people view seeing someone as weakness, but it is not. If you
No,
can't
that's a
do it yourself, you have to choose that you will continue to wallow in your pain, you cut it and you work on yourself, or you find somebody that can push you so that you can be able to be healed. So in relationships, we have both sides. The people that we blame have been good to us at some point, and the people that we look upon have always been bad to us at some point. So we all bring both sides of the coin. Did you hear the story of the coin? We bring both sides into any relationship that we go into. And it is important that we take accountability and responsibility for our part in whatever it is that may be happening. There is always help for you to be able to get through these things. And you can follow us, you can follow ILS so that you can get that help that you need. And I just want to say thank you so much. There's somebody, oh, okay, it's not a question. I want to just say thank you so much for taking the time to be with us and to share your insights and knowledge. I know you're a very busy person. You're doing TV shows, you're doing consults, you're doing workshops, and you're doing all of these things. And I really appreciate your time to come and share with us what can help our people that are
yes.
watching right now.
It was a huge privilege and an honor for me. And I just want to end with this to say, you are your own biggest investment. Invest in yourself. Invest in yourself so that you can have the life that you wish to have. It is available for everyone who is willing to do the work.
Wow. Invest in yourself. You hear that? Invest in yourself. Time, money, effort.
Yep.
Use
Yep.
part of your 24 hours per day to use some of that time for yourself. Invest in yourself, learn about yourself, find out things about yourself so that you can reduce the stress and have a more fulfilling life. I just want to say bye to everyone and thank you so much for your comments, for watching, and for joining us tonight. As you know, we're doing this every Thursday, and you can message us, you can ask any questions that you want to ask. And if you want to contact Els, we'll forward your details to her and you can engage her further. So thank you. Thank you all, and good night.
Good night, everybody.